Okay, we want to have information that we store on the server and have that information be used repeatedly over many visits. Uh, One awesome way to store structured information is in a database. We've seen that in database 1. Let's just write some PHP programs that write and read from a database. In this class, we're going to go ahead and my examples will use MySQL. I know that you used Oracle in your DB1 class, and that's all fine. Partly we're giving you different exposure to slightly different things. The standard SQL is going to be all the same. We're going to have a little bit of easier time for a bad reason, perhaps. The PHP server, php.radford.edu, is both the PHP server and our MySQL database server. Okay? And the nice thing about that is in our PHP programs, when you want to connect to the database, we're just going to connect to localhost. And we're not going to have to futz with a connection string and getting that format just right, which is always the hardest part of connecting to a database. Now, wait a minute, Barland. I took Intro to Security, and we learned about the principle of blank. A principle that says, hey, you shouldn't have your database server and your PHP server be the same machine. Yeah, the principle of least mechanism, I think it is. Don't have one mechanism that if it's break or compromised, you lose multiple systems. Yeah, so we're violating that right here to show you not to do it. Okay. Before we actually get into any of the PHP and the actual interaction with the database, I want to look at using just how you can set up your Radford University MySQL database. So this is going to be kind of specific to Radford students. If you go to php.radford.edu, on there is a bunch of stuff here, including, for more information on setting up a database, go to the page blah blah blah, which is the MySQL hosting page. The first thing you might need to do is /create a MySQL database. It gets set up almost immediately. You'll need to change your password for it. Don't use your Radford main password for this, okay? Make it a separate password. Partly because inadvertently I might see this password in the homeworks you turn in. We'll talk about how to avoid that. But I should definitely not know your main overall Radford password. I don't want to know your database password either, but anyway, make those separate. So yeah, create a and then once we do this, we can go ahead and go to the RU MySQL Admin tool. Okay, and this is sort of a generic database. I'll log in using my database password here. Okay, and the first thing I want to do on the left, I see a couple of schemas. You will have these same two schemas. Click on your username, iBarland there. That's the schema. Now, I have a bunch of tables there. The first time you do this, you won't have any tables. This tool here is a web interface. I can do all these things with pointing and clicking rather than writing SQL commands. It might be convenient in some circumstances. Ultimately, I think it's good to know how to do the underlying SQL. Okay, and just to sort of show you some of the things, I'll choose one of my tables, the unicorns table here. And you can see it turns out there's several rows in this table. There's 3 columns, and we have several rows in this table. Okay, here's just all I want to talk about is, first of all, the structure of the table lets you talk about all the columns and their attributes. Okay, so you can go in and you can add more columns here and so on. Browse just lets you see the table. Here's the important one, SQL. Here's where you can actually go and type your own SQL query no matter what. Okay, select name from unicorns where, let's see, horn length. Oh yeah, the column names are listed over here. So horn length bigger than 300. Okay, and do a select. And what happened here? Select. Oh, See, I hate these stupid GUI interfaces that reset the whole query. I'm supposed to hit go. Okay, I'm not going to bother typing it again. Type in a query, go down, don't hit any of these other buttons, hit go. These select and select star and insert are sort of little templates that you can use, and then you can go fill them in. So like I'm going to hit an insert statement, insert into, and it sets up this insert statement, which is maybe what I want. So that's actually kind of handy. And I have to fill in just value 1, value 2, value 3. So, okay, so I'll just show you that you can go ahead and use this little SQL window. There's one more thing I want to mention. In particular, for using this for your project, at the end of the project, you'd want to go and wrap up and save and archive your entire project. And you'd actually like to wrap up and archive the database too, right? So one of the things you can do with the database is export. Oh, and that just uses the last. Oh, here we are. SQL query has been executed. That's the old window. Exporting rows. We can just use the quick. And here's the point. Use the SQL format. Okay. And this is kind of nice. If I go and I'll have to bring that other app in. Open that up. We get this file here. And we can see that it created this file for me, including a bunch of MySQL's perhaps specific stuff, some good things that I might not think about. Here's my create table, and all this sort of stuff. It has a few options like engine equal MySam that I think again is specific to MySQL and not, say, Oracle. But the nice thing about this is now once I've done this, I've sort of archived things. I can go ahead and if I want to recreate my project later and including all the database, I'll just run that one file as a SQL command file and it'll load it all in. So that is the GUI interface that can be fun to play around with. You will need to use actual SQL commands in our code, of course. In fact, you'll be writing PHP that writes SQL commands, just like we write PHP that writes HTML. But this can be a good way to sort of futz with things a little bit by hand and play around with things. Another good place to use this, especially the SQL window, you have some sort of bug in your PHP program, you don't know what's going on, but you listened to the advice that I'll give in the next lecture, and before you made any PHP query and you're starting to debug, you print out the exact query you make to the screen before you send it to the database. Copy and paste that query, type it in here. See what the database is giving you on that particular query. And now we can sort of track down, is the problem in the exact string you created, it wasn't valid SQL, or was using a column name that didn't exist or something like that, or is it a problem in your PHP? And so it helps narrow that down. So that's another good use for this SQL window here. Okay, enjoy the database.